Hey, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and what a wild and crazy week in VCT Americas. I mean, we had Evil Geniuses upset Leviatan. Loud almost goes down for the first time to KRU Esports of all teams, which would have left Cloud9 at the top of America's VCT, a place that I'm sure many would have doubted that they would have been able to be after dropping Yay. So I guess the question as far as from here on out, can Evil Geniuses win 3 straight and be able to propel themselves into the playoff conversation? Is there a world where potentially Leviatan, my number 2 pick in the region, all of a sudden finds themselves on the outside of the playoff picture looking in? Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. If it's your first time through over here on the channel for one of our regional wrap-ups, man, first off, what up? Thanks for sticking around this long. I cover, well, a little bit of every region when it comes down to VCT, almost daily esports news, updates, power rankings, and more. So if that's your flavor, you want to make sure you're back, trying to stay up to date with every region when it comes down to VCT, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. Now, check it out, y'all. I know that we go over the last week's results whenever we come to these VCT wrap-ups here, but I know if you guys kind of more prefer that like detailed kind of dig in like we've done in previous weeks in the past, let me know down below. But in the comments below, we have kind of found in the past that really people are more looking forward to those pick'ems as well as that Power 5 that we do at the end of these videos. Let's go ahead and get to that just a little bit quicker. Let's go ahead and get things started off with as far as this past week's results. Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. NRG versus 100 Thieves. Pretty well win as I think most people kind of expected things to go. I think as far as for me, I wouldn't have been surprised if this thing went 3. Wouldn't have been surprised if this thing ended in a sweep one way or another. It does definitely seem that NRG seems to be trying to figure things out when it matters the most. And I don't think really anyone was surprised when it came to both Furia and Cloud9 being able to win their matchups in sweeps. But it was the end of the week that really kind of started to turn the region up on its head. It started off with Leviatan versus Evil Geniuses with a total of 69 rounds of banging Valorant, right? We're talking about back and forth between the first 2 maps, 13-10 between Leviatan and Evil Geniuses here on Split and then on Pearl. But when we went out to Ascent, that's where things got really interesting, right? Because it was off the back of a 9-3 half here for Evil Geniuses, able to hold off that comeback in the second half from Leviatan on Ascent, able to get their second series win of the season, which is important because realistically, had they lost this series, there's a good chance they would have already been outside that playoffs picture. So right now they are still definitely kind of on the cusp when it comes to that bubble. But then things got really interesting when we talk about that LOUD versus KRU Esports. Now, we talk about on Pearl, starting things off nice here for LOUD on the back of an 8-4 half, but they were only able to win 2 rounds in that second half, dropping their map 13-10. But it was on Ascent that really on the back of a nice strong second half, really able to kind of stonewall once they got onto the defensive side, able to then push things into Split. And once they did get to Split, LOUD able to do what LOUD does best and able to walk away still undefeated on the season. And that's going to be another 3-2 week for your boy. I got to admit, I was definitely sweating during that LOUD versus KRU game to end the week. But, you know, that was kind of, it was close there. I mean, literally a couple minutes before I started recording this thing, looked really promising on the side of the KRU. Unfortunately, just let things go in the end. Thankfully, though, as far as for LOUD, able to keep my record of these positive week pick'ems here alive here, right? But before we go into our pick'ems here for this upcoming week, YouTube, I'm kind of curious. How's your sleep, fam? GamerAdvantage is a leader in impactful eyewear technology that's been proven to help you sleep better, focus more, all without distorting color or comfort, relieving headaches and eye strain, all while fitting comfortably under a headset. Stay in the game longer with GamerAdvantage. Link will be down that description below as always. And don't forget, when you check out that code YoBoyCue, saves you that 10% discount. You'll always catch me letting GamerAdvantage sit in my face. And, you know, whenever I have to take out my contacts, GamerAdvantage still has me covered with my prescription lenses. And, you know, when you talk about being able to help relieve some headaches and eye strain while being able to increase performance, it sounds like a win-win for me. Now, let's go ahead and get up and let's get things started when we talk about really kind of getting down with our pick'ems here. As far as for the week, things get started off with a huge matchup here between Evil Geniuses and Sentinels. Essentially, whoever loses here can probably kiss their season goodbye. Evil Geniuses has shown me some better things against tougher competition than the Sentinels have, which does make me think that they're going to be able to walk away with things here. Don't be surprised if this does go 3 maps, but I do think Evil Geniuses walks away with another one. Now, I do think Cloud9 cruises past Mibr. It really just kind of makes sense, right? And I mean, they've been looking absolutely filthy since they released Yay. It's been absolutely ridiculous. I don't think anyone would have expected them to look this good thus far in the season. I'm definitely going to have to take them over Mibr. Now, when we talk about our middle game of the week, LOUD versus 100 Thieves, it's definitely interesting, right? I think LOUD has shown some signs of weaknesses. They've really, they've dropped maps in, I think, 4 of their 5 matchups thus far in the season. But I do think as far as 100 Thieves at their best, yeah, they can beat LOUD, but I don't think that LOUD is going to come in. I think, especially after overlooking KRU, I think this past week, I don't think they make the same mistake twice. Go ahead and give me LOUD in 2. Now, speaking of KRU, the team that LOUD did overlook this past week, you know, they're really trying to get their foot in the door, trying to get things going. But this week they do play against Leviatan. Leviatan looking to bounce back off of back-to-back losses here, which puts KRU in quite the unfortunate situation here. I do think that's going to be Leviatan that comes out on top there, which does still leave KRU winless for the season. And that's only going to leave us with NRG versus Furia to cap things off as far as for next week. I do think that NRG realizes the urgency when it comes to trying to qualify for playoffs and make sure they really put their best foot forward. I expect them to really wrap things up in what I anticipate is going to be a banger of a matchup. I'm expecting this thing to go 3 maps, but I am expecting NRG to come out on top. Now, this is a tough week of pick'ems here. Wouldn't be surprised if this is not my first week of perfect pick'ems, but I would love it if that is the case. I definitely feel very, very confident as far as those 5 picks right there as far as for pick'ems for this week. Definitely feel free to let me know what you guys think down in those comments below. But let's go ahead and get down to, well, I'm pretty sure everyone's favorite part of these weekly wrap-ups here, and that's going to be the Power 5. And if this is your first time through as far as when we do these Power 5s here, as I had mentioned earlier, we do like basically daily esports news, updates, and things like that, including all 3 regions in the VCT. So if you're looking for a good place to stay up to date, make sure you feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, all right? But let's go ahead and get to that Power 5. Quick reminder, I don't simply just go off of record and round differential. This is kind of like the college football rankings, right? There's a little bit of an eye test. There's a little bit of strength of schedule as well. You name it. We're going to kind of take into account a little bit of everything. Now, in that number 5 spot is going to be NRG. They took down 100 Thieves, who would probably be the only team other than NRG that I would be considering in that number 5 spot. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't a sweep like I mentioned earlier, but NRG does still play Furia, LOUD, and EG to wrap up things for this season. So I do think they still have a little bit of time to show their true colors. In that number 4 spot here is going to be Furia. Sure, they've only lost twice and to the best teams in the region nonetheless, but I'm not 100% sold on Furia thus far, right? I mean, they're 8-6 when it comes to map count. They're +4 when it comes to round differential. I mean, interesting to kind of see these last few weeks kind of break down for Furia. I had said in previous weeks that I thought Leviatan was the 2nd best team in the region, but it's times like this that I realized that maybe that they aren't just that. I mean, maybe Furia has the potential to even be that team, right? But it's times like this that I do also realize that as far as for Cloud9 here, they've been able to kind of start figuring things out, right? I mean, it's still kind of crazy to think that Leviatan could be making themselves a good chance for Tokyo, but they need to make sure they can clutch things up and lock it in. But I think as far as for Leviatan, they're going to be in that 3 spot. They were previously in that number 2 spot, but Cloud just looks way too good. Leviatan is going to be in that number 3 spot. They are still good to look for Tokyo, but they need to make sure they can clutch it up and lock it in. And in that number 2 spot is going to be Cloud9. I think many people, including myself, kind of wrote off this Cloud9 team when they released the A, right? But in reality, they're only a couple of rounds away from being undefeated, as they might look like they might have some opportunities to kind of get better. Again, a couple of rounds away from having taken down Loud and being undefeated thus far in the season. But at the end of the day, it is Loud that is undefeated thus far in the season, thus far for VCT in Americas. And since no one else can say that in Americas, it is them sitting by themselves at the top. But I'm kind of curious, YouTube, what do you think as far as that Power 5, as far as some pick'ems? Where am I right? Where am I wrong? Let me know. I'm definitely not claiming to be like the master of all things, right? But definitely let me know your opinions down in those comments below. Remember those comments as well as those likes that y'all are about to light up down that bottom right hand corner. Those are the two things that help me out the most when it comes to getting my content in front of more people over here on YouTube. Y'all have been crushing it lately. We just crossed over that 200 subscriber marker, and because we do almost daily esports news updates and things like that, if that's something that you guys are looking into, y'all want to keep up to date, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on until we do catch y'all back over here where we do talk every region, not just VCT, but also ALGS. Don't forget, man, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.